The new ways to buy real estate, even if you're not rich. If you think you need to be rich to buy real estate in 2026, you've already lost. So why does the real estate game seem completely out of reach for regular people? Is there really a way to buy a property without a six-figure salary or a 20% down payment? And how are people making money from real estate they don't even fully own? In this video, I'm breaking down the new ways to buy real estate even if you're not rich. Stick around because the smartest way into this market is probably not the one you've been told to chase. Let's get into it. Number 1, REITs. Before you scroll past, I know REITs sounds dry, but most people completely misunderstand what they are and what they can actually do for your portfolio. A REIT is a company that owns income-producing real estate like apartment complexes, warehouses, hospitals, and shopping centers. By law, it must pay out at least 90% of its taxable income as dividends to shareholders. That means you can get a cut of real estate profits without owning a single property yourself. You can buy into a REIT for as little as the price of one share, sometimes under $20. This can be done from your phone right now through any brokerage account. And here's the part most people never expect. REITs have outperformed the S&P 500 over 20-year periods. So you're not just earning dividend income, you also have upside if the underlying properties rise in value. Let me make this concrete. Say you invest $5,000 into a diversified REIT index fund today. At a hypothetical 8 to 10% annual return, that's $5,000. That $5,000 could grow over time without even owning a single door or dealing with any tenant. That's the power of starting early and staying consistent. The downside, you don't control the properties. You're trusting a management team to make the right calls, and like any stock, REITs can drop in value during market downturns. They're also less exciting to talk about at dinner parties than saying, "I own a property in Miami." Regardless, your bank account doesn't care about dinner party conversations. For someone who wants real estate exposure with zero landlord responsibilities and very little capital to start, REITs are one of the most underrated tools available right now. But what if you don't want to invest in a company? Now, number 2 is where things start getting really interesting. Number 2, fractional real estate investing. The fractional real estate market is projected to grow from $2.8 billion in 2024 to $12.5 billion by 2033, and over 60% of investors in this space are under 40. Here's the concept. Instead of one person buying an entire property, a group of investors pools their money together to collectively own it. Each person owns a fractional share proportional to what they put in. When the property earns rental income or appreciates, everyone gets their slice. Think of it like co-owning income-producing property without having to buy the whole thing yourself. Platforms like Arrived and Realty Mogul have made this accessible to everyday investors. Arrive, for example, lets you invest in pre-vetted single-family rental and vacation properties with a minimum of just $100. You browse actual listings, pick the ones you want exposure to, invest your amount, and then sit back while professional property managers handle everything. Let me paint you a real-life scenario. If you have a property that generates $24,000 in annual rental income, that means you own 0.5% of it through a fractional platform and will be collecting $120 a year passively. That doesn't sound massive on its own. Imagine you've done that across 10 or 20 properties in different cities. You've just built a diversified real estate income stream that used to be available only to wealthy investors with millions in capital. However, this is not a short-term play. You need to be patient. Read the fine print on every platform and only invest money if you won't need it in the near future. But for long-term wealth building, this is one of the most exciting shifts in personal finance in the last decade. Now, here's where it gets even more unconventional because number 3 flips the entire model on its head. Number 3, real estate debt crowdfunding. Real estate debt crowdfunding is when developers raise money from individual investors through crowdfunding platforms. Ground Floor is one of them. This is a real estate investing and lending marketplace that lets individuals invest in short-term, high-yield real estate loans for as little as $10. You pick individual real estate loans, fund them, and collect interest payments while the developer does all the work on the ground. Now, here's the comparison that really puts this into perspective. The average high-yield savings account in 2026 is paying around 4.5% to 5%. Real estate debt investing on these platforms is targeting 8% to 12% tangible assets backed by physical property. That's nearly double the return for money that would otherwise be sitting in a savings account doing half the work. And people are leaving that gap on the table every single day because they don't know this option exists. Now, let me be clear, the risks are real. Project delays happen, developers default, platforms can have their own issues. That's why you never put all your money into one loan. You spend it across many. Just like any smart investor diversifies a stock portfolio, and you stick to platforms that are properly regulated, transparent about their underwriting, and have a real track record. But if you're someone who wants a predictable cash flow from real estate without buying a single property, real estate debt crowdfunding is one of the most underutilized tools sitting in plain sight right now. On the flip side, if this is opening your eyes to things nobody around you is talking about, drop a like and smash that subscribe button. Serious about fixing your credit and getting funded? Grab Credit Rewrite 800, the 800 Plus system, and get funded for your business. Everything you need is inside. Now, back to the countdown. Number 4, tax lien investing. Tax lien investing sounds too good to be true until you understand the mechanics. Here's what happens. When a property owner stops paying their property taxes, the local government still needs that money, so they sell the debt in the form of a tax lien certificate to investors at a public auction. You pay the overdue taxes. In return, the government gives you the right to collect that debt back from the property owner plus interest. And here's the part that stops people cold. That interest rate is set by the state. We're talking 8% in some states, 16% in others, up to 36% in Arizona. However, you're not buying the property, rather you're buying the debt secured by the property. If the owner pays, and most of them do because they want to keep their home, you'll collect your principal back plus all the interest. If they don't pay within the redemption period, which runs 1 to 3 years, you can foreclose and acquire the property for a fraction of its market value. Meanwhile, the risks are real though. I won't sugarcoat them. You need to research the property before you bid. A lien on a contaminated lot or a property with senior liens ahead of yours can turn a good-looking certificate into a dead end. This method rewards people who do their homework. Skip due diligence here and you will lose money. But for someone willing to learn the process, show up to county auctions and invest patiently, tax lien investing is one of the most underexplored corners of real estate and is completely overlooked by most people. And finally, number 5. This one doesn't involve a bank, a platform, or an auction. Number 5, seller financing. Seller financing is when you negotiate directly with the property owner to finance the purchase. Instead of borrowing from a bank, that is, you agree on a price, an interest rate, and a repayment schedule. Then, go ahead and make monthly payments directly to the seller until the property is paid off or you refinance. No credit score approval or 45-day closing process, just two people making a deal. Interestingly, sellers who are willing to finance are often motivated. They may own the property outright, want a steady income stream in retirement, or simply can't find a qualified buyer in a tight market. For buyers, it opens a door that conventional lending often keeps shut. And for a lot of people, one of the biggest reasons conventional lending stays shut is their credit profile. That's why resources like Credit Rewrite 800, the 800 Plus system, has become popular. A link to get yours is in the description below. Moving on, seller financing works well in markets where properties have been sitting for a while and your income doesn't fit into a W-2 box. So, what are the risks? Well, if you miss payments, you can still lose the property, just like any mortgage. And you'll want a real estate attorney involved to protect both sides. This is not a handshake deal. Get everything in writing, recorded properly with a deed of trust or mortgage lien in place. Apparently, the wealth gap in real estate isn't just about who has the most money, but who knows the rules and the loopholes. Now you know. The only question left is what you're going to do with it. Drop a comment below telling me which of the methods you're starting with. And if you want to take this further, our next video would teach real estate strategies that pay you every month. I'll see you there.